In this video, you will learn how to set up an Airbnb business in 2025.
Hi, those of you who don't know me, my name's Ali Shah. I'm the founder of Yorkshire Property, Yorkshire's leading SA management company. We've been operating for 5 years and there's not much that I've not uncovered.
So the first thing you will need to decide is which of the three methods you're going to utilize in order to run your Airbnb business. So are you going to be purchasing, or are you going to be doing rent to rent, which in this case would be rent to SA, or are you simply going to manage properties on other people's behalf? Once you've decided which of these three strategies you wish to utilize, you still need to essentially set up the business accordingly. Regardless of which of the three you go for, the following steps are essential. So number one, you'll need to register your company with Companies House. This is the first step that you need to take regardless. You need to decide on a company name, go through the Companies House form, pay your £12, and that's it. That's pretty much done. It shouldn't take you more than half an hour to set this up yourself. If you wish to pay an accountant to do this for you, that's absolutely fine, although it will cost maybe upwards of £100 if you wish to go down that route. Now, secondly, once you've done your website, you need to register a email address for your company. Now, you're going to do this using something like GoDaddy or Google Domain. It's relatively cheap to do this. It shouldn't take you again more than say 10-15 minutes to do this step. The third step is to set up a company business bank account. Now, my advice is to go with one of the sort of online banks as opposed to a high street retail bank, purely because it just seems to be easier in 2025 to get a business bank account approved and opened. So I'm talking about the likes of Monzo, Starling, Tide, Revolut, as opposed to your Barclays and your HSBC, NatWest, etc. So once you've done this, you've got a business bank account opened, well done. You've now got obviously a company set up with a business bank account to go with it. Next, you're going to want to create a logo for the name that you've gone for. This can either be done on something like Canva by yourself, or you could outsource it on websites like Fiverr or Upwork. Or if there's someone you personally know who does sort of graphics design, who can mop up a logo for you, then feel free to use them. But obviously it is the cheapest and most effective way, free way to do it yourself. The next step would be your website. Now, at this stage, this is mainly for you to attract landlords if you're doing rent to SA or rent to SA management, or SA management in generally. However, if you're purchasing, then you could probably skip past this step and just go straight into the next bit. But a website is quite crucial. Obviously, it gives you that sort of authority, trust, backs up the fact that you're a reliable and genuine company, and this is the sort of thing that landlords will look at and ask for. Aside from your sort of company name, company creation date, they will look at how long you've been trading for. They will also usually ask what your website is. And that brings me on to the next thing in terms of your sort of web presence, your branding, your social media presence, your digital marketing. So it is imperative that you then look at maybe creating a Facebook page, an Instagram page. If you wish, you can go one step further. You can even look at a Snapchat page, TikTok, which seems to be the currency of the day, and you can look at even a LinkedIn page. So these are all marketing avenues you can look at. What I would say to start off with at least maybe two of these. I'd probably recommend Instagram and Facebook. And these are the two that I got started with as well. Once you reach this part, you then want to set up a virtual local landline number. This again will give you the credibility and you will come across as a genuine local company. The website I use is one called numberpeople.co.uk. It's very cheap. You can top up a minimum of £5 per month on there, and I usually find myself sort of topping up around £10 per month as they charge sort of per minute, maybe 5p to 7p per minute of you sort of receiving and making calls. However, it means that you can actually take calls on your mobile phone, and your mobile phone number actually acts as a diversion line, but you know that when the business is being called, your phone will show the fact that it's a business phone call incoming and not a private phone call. So that's something, you know, that is really effective to have. It shows that you're professional, you mean business, and you separate your business phone number from your personal phone number. So you can obviously use your business line contact number all across your branding, on your Facebook, Instagram page, etc. Even in your logo, if you wish to include, you know, any contact details, it could also go into there. Now, in terms of compliance, this is extremely important. So there's two things you need to do for compliance purposes. Number one is registering with the ICO. This only costs £40. And for data protection purposes, it's very important that you do so. You don't want to be incurring any fines. At the end of the day, we are dealing with people's data. You may need to take the IDs when they're staying at your properties in the future, such as passport, driving license, that kind of thing. So for the protection, you do need to register with the ICO. That's the Information Commissioner's Office. Secondly, there's the Property Redress Scheme, known as the PRS. This is around £150 for the most basic package. And again, if you just go on their website, you can register with them, and essentially this protects against any complaints in the sort of rent-to-rent industry especially. So, you know, you just need to make sure you are signed up with them as well. Now, once you've done all of the above, you need to ensure that you are protecting your business in terms of insurance. So it is imperative that you take out professional indemnity and public liability insurance. I do this with a company called Allen Boswell. If you Google them, you should be able to reach them. Obviously, there's companies like Hiscox, AXA, Zurich, etc., who you can go to directly if you wish. But I like to use Allen Boswell, as they seem to be quite clued up with sort of all the insurances that you require to run a successful Airbnb business. Now, finally, it's the contract. So depending on what you're doing, obviously if you're buying, then this won't be applicable to you, and that's all you would need for now. However, if you are doing rent-to-rent, or if you're doing rent-to-SA management, then you're going to need either a company-let contract or a management agreement contract with the landlord. So for either of these, either you can obviously go to a solicitor and get this drafted up, which I do recommend if you are doing this obviously by yourself and you don't have any sort of mentor or anything by your side. However, if you do have a mentor, please do ask them if they can provide you with a copy of the company-let agreement or management agreement that they use. And this is something, you know, that I provide all my mentees within the Yorkshire Property Academy when they do join my mentorship. So yeah, it's something, you know, as standard that I feel every mentor should provide the mentees with. It's a crucial document, and you know, you need to ensure that, you know, everything is done by the book, it's done legally. You're not subletting a property, you are legally letting someone else's property when you're running it on Airbnb. Remember that. So that's everything from me today. If you follow the above steps that I've mentioned, I'm fairly confident you will be legitimately set up and ready to start looking for your first Airbnb project. Take care. Goodbye.